Everybody, thanks for joining us. This is NAMI Piedmont Tri-County, and today we're talking with a few adolescents in the community, and they're going to talk to us about how it feels just having their lives turned upside down by the pandemic. So today, Marissa, Bailey, Lulu, and Jen have agreed to get on and just spend 30 minutes telling us about how their life and how much things have changed for them. So right as we get going, Marissa, do you want to get started and just tell us kind of how you feel about from March the 12th, where everything just kind of shut down, going from everything that you normally do in life to suddenly being stuck in your bedroom and staying home. Tell us how that has been for you.
Okay, so whenever it all started, I had just got back from Charleston, so I kind of just got back from living the dream. And then next thing I knew, life was shut down and I was stuck at home. And I don't know, it's okay, school, it's okay for me because I guess I'm good at keeping a schedule, but it can get stressed out. The part that I'm struggling with is being stuck at home with my mom because I love her, but I can get annoyed with her. And then I miss my friends a lot because I'm used to being around my friends because they're what makes me happy. I'm not saying I'm not happy. I'm happy. They make me really happy. And yeah, I just miss all my friends and I miss life and being able to go out with not being scared to get sick.
Yeah, that's a biggie. We'll come back to some of those points. Thanks, Marissa. Bailey, how's it been for you?
It was most definitely a adjustment, I think, for everyone, just realizing it's not, life for a bit isn't going to be what we're used to. And I think it's definitely been stressful, just worrying about my family and how everyone else is doing. And it's put a lot of, I guess, sense of responsibility on me, and seeing that I want, if I got the virus, I would probably heal and be fine. But realizing that going to Walmart or something could impact other people, as I could possibly spread it to them. So it's put a lot of pressure on, I think, me as an individual to look at the bigger picture of the community. And it's definitely tested relationships with those I've been stuck in quarantine with. So my roommate and my family, we all get a little bit on edge, I think, just being trapped in the same house. But it's been a good exercise in building those relationships and learning to, I guess, be stuck with them in times like this. But most definitely it's been stressful, just waiting for this to all calm down, get back to normal.
Thanks, Bailey. And again, there's some things there that I want to come back and revisit when we go through this. Lulu, how's it going for you?
It's okay. It's definitely it's different. It's hard to be at home and not be able to go and do stuff like I normally do, go hang out with my friends and everything. So that's hard. And then school is very hard because for me, I'm just better learning in a classroom. So getting all my schoolwork at home is just definitely a lot more stressful because there's a lot more work to do. So that's kind of hard to be able to keep up with and stuff. But I just feel I don't have as much of a schedule now as I did before. So it's hard, kind of sticking to, what I need to be getting done during the day and stuff.
Yeah, things get turned upside down. Okay, we're going to come back to some of that too. Jen, how's it going for you?
It's kind of the same as Lulu. Like she said, she learns better in a classroom. And my sleep schedule is messed up, so it's hard to, do all of that work in the time that I'm awake. But in some ways it's easier because, I have more time to do chores and get things done and help my grandma. But for school, it is hard because, there's not a schedule that I have to follow every day. And I kind of just do my own thing.
So going back to what you all said about having to do school, I specifically want to know on the school thing. So Marissa's following a schedule and she's good at scheduling herself. And so she's getting through some of those things. So let's talk about how not having a fixed schedule from school is affecting you guys. Who wants to go first?
I can start. So for me, all of my classes were online. I think everyone's were, and it was just transferred to, we did a lot of Zoom meetings like this. And teaching with like, some of my instructors went online and would actually do a class sitting online, and you could join if you wanted. Others would just give us work and say, do this. If you have questions, you can email me. And for me, it was definitely stressful, and it tested my my ability to, my self-control and my self-discipline, and making myself sit down and go to class on my computer when I could just stay in bed. And I find that the classes for me that held the Zoom sessions with my professors, it didn't feel that different. It was definitely a change, but it helped seeing the professor face-to-face, not face-to-face, but over Zoom teaching, versus some of my professors just kind of put it all on us as individuals. And that was definitely the most stressful part through it, because I went from getting taught the information and explained to me to having to do that myself and just asking questions through email. So it's definitely tested my self-control and sense of responsibility to make myself sit and do my schoolwork when it's so easy to just sit in bed and not get up for that 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. like Zoom session. But it's been good. The school at least has recognized that students are struggling, so they've had academic policies put in place to help us with that, which takes some of the stress off. But most definitely, I've had to really focus on self-discipline and making myself do my classwork and not being held accountable. It was more the accountability was on myself.
That's an interesting point. So they've put things in place to help that your academics not count as much, or a different way. Okay, so the reason that I'm asking this question is because I just read a report yesterday in the newspaper that in South Carolina specifically, they've lost an awful lot of students. In fact, some students are doing nothing. A percentage of students are doing the minimum amount of work, but they're not showing up for the Zoom classes, they're not showing up for the sessions, and they're not checking in. And then there's kind of half of the students are carrying on and completing the course load. So that's interesting for me as well. Lulu, tell us how it is for you trying to organize and manage the workload that you've been given without Zoom classes, without a dial-in classroom situation.
Well, I just try to like focus, like depending on what I have to do for work a certain day. Like if I focus on like one class a day, or I try to at least, but I try to get like the easiest class done first. So I do like most of that work that like I've fallen behind in that class. But it's like still like some of the harder classes that like it's harder for me to understand without a teacher. It's like a lot harder to get done. Like I don't understand what I'm having to do. And it makes it a lot harder for them not really explaining what we have to do, and then just kind of giving us the work and then kind of just like explaining what we have to do, but like not really explaining, which is kind of hard for me, because it's easier for me to like to hear someone like tell me what the instructions are for a certain assignment, and being not told what to do is making it a lot more difficult to get my work done and to be able to stay like focused on it. So.
And I think a lot of teachers are trying to record Zoom classes and have the instructions up, but there's a disconnect with, they can't think of all the questions that a student might have. So that's going to be a bit of a disconnect. If it's not a live interactive session, you can't necessarily sit and do the work and ask the questions as they come up. They kind of have to guess on the questions. So is that causing some problems? Jen, how's that working out for you? How's the Zoom classes and or the lack of instructions working for you?
None of my teachers give Zoom classes, but I feel like for most of the kids in my classes would be a lot easier, because in most of my classes, everybody just relies on each other to ask questions and not so much the teacher. But I feel like it would be a lot easier to do Zoom classes, because if I have a question, then I don't have to type it out and wait for the teacher to respond, because by the time they do respond, I've kind of just like put my phone down and, watch TV. So it would be a lot easier. I could like talk to somebody live instead of through a computer.
That adds extra stress, right? So when we're waiting on those answers, when we're waiting for the clarifications on the questions, it's really easy, even as an adult, right? I will put put it down and start working on something else, and I may never get back to what I was originally working on because I am multitasking. Marissa, what's been the biggest challenge with setting that schedule for you?
My sleep schedule, at first it was fine because I quarantined with one of my friends like at first, and so we were going to sleep like pretty much on time, and then I had to come home because it started getting worse. But I don't have Wi-Fi at my house, so I was going to my mom's boyfriend's mom's house, and so I kept a schedule. But then so then I couldn't go over there anymore because it started getting really bad, and so I've been using my mom's boyfriend's hotspot, and he gets home late. So I used to have to do my schoolwork in the middle of the night. So my sleep, not in the middle of the night, but for me, I can't do class. I have to do like class, break. So my sleep schedule got really messed up. So, and then I would wake up at like 4 p.m. But it's gotten better now because I've been going to my mom cleans houses, so I've been going to work with her. So like that's one way I've tried to stay productive. So my sleep schedule's gotten better, and I've gotten better with doing my work.
That's good. Yeah, it's hard when you're not doing anything and expending energy, right? So you don't really feel like sleeping as much, and everybody's schedule's kind of off. So let's talk about friends. How's it been not being able to physically be around friends? And let's start again with that. Let's start with Jen this time. How is it for you not physically being able to be around your friends?
It's kind of in a way it's a little easy because I spend time with my family, but they kind of drive me crazy sometimes. But I do miss like being able to see my friends and, you know, hang out and have fun. And going over to your house is like it was one of the hardest things to like let go of, kind of, because I kind of live over there in a way, like on the weekends or during when we have free time. So not being able to see like your whole family has kind of been hard because you're kind of like my second family.
And so how is that for you, Lulu? How is it? I'm going to ask that question knowing full well that I know the answer to this, but how would you say it is for you not being able to physically be around your friends?
It's hard because it's like I like being around them because it's like it gives me a break from like school or anything else that's happening. So it's like easier for me to be around my friends and be able to talk to my friends. So it's like it's a lot harder, but it's also kind of like hard because it's like I have other friends, but like they just I don't know. Like at school they would like talk to me, and now they just like kind of like we're not as close as we were in school, which is kind of hard because it's like I want to be able to talk to them and stuff, but it's like we don't have anything to talk about. So that's kind of hard. So it's like it's just hard not being around them and being able to talk to them and seeing their faces every day. So
Or hug up on them, right? There's a lot of hugging goes on. I've seen this hugging going on. So Marissa, how is that for you? How are you doing without actually physically seeing your friends?
It's definitely hard because like Lulu said, like I like to be around them, and I'm like a physical person. Like I like to joke around with them and like and then like show my affection and show them that I love them. And I don't know, it's just harder, but it's definitely showed me like who my true friends are and who truly cares. I've drifted from other people because it's made me realize who my true friends are, and I've gotten a lot closer with others.
And how about you, Bailey?
I would agree with that. It definitely made me realize how much effort has to be put into a friendship other than just if I see them every day in classes. If you want that friendship to grow from there, you have to put in the effort to actually like keep in contact with each other. But I was lucky enough, I live with one of my best friends at school when I'm there in my apartment. She's my roommate. So we have most definitely gotten a little sick of each other and had some spats, but it's been nice to have her around with me. We've kind of gone through it together. And then obviously when I'm home with my family now, it's good. But it's also made me realize how much of a stress reliever it is to be around friends. Normally during the week it's school, Monday through Friday. And then the weekend is my time away with them to go physically see them. And without that release of released from all the stress of school and just being able to hang out with my friends. It's put more stress on me. I've noticed even in my schoolwork, I feel way more stressed and like anxiety ridden without that release on the weekends. And it's taken a toll on some friendships, just us both realizing how much effort needs to be put in, and we were having a lack of effort on that part. So it's, I think for me and my big friend group, it's safe to say we've drifted apart for sure. Not all of us, but a few of us have drifted apart, but we've kind of decided that there needs to be that that communication that needs to be made in order to maintain these friendships while I can't see them in person. So it's taken a toll, but in the end, I think it's taught us more. It's going to strengthen in the end when we are back together, because we've learned how to communicate more efficiently with each other, not just in person.
How are you all communicating right now?
I think we do Zoom. Sometimes we'll do Zoom calls and we'll play games like cards or something, or there's lots of online websites you can play card games together through the Zoom app. So we've been doing that a little bit, and then the basic forms of social media like Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, those kind of basic mainstream things, and a lot of FaceTime. A lot of FaceTime has happened.
Cool. Yeah, Jen, how are you in keeping up with people? How do you keep up with all your friends?
For the most part, I just FaceTime or Snapchat, and all the people that I haven't talked to in like a long time or since quarantine has started, I usually just text them just to see how they're doing and see if their family and them are okay.
Cool. Lulu, what are you doing?
I FaceTime people a lot and I Snapchat people, but it's like I try to text people who like I haven't seen in a while, and I'm like making sure that they're okay and how they're doing, just to make sure that even like after this we could still like continue to be friends, and like I guess see if like after quarantine if we can like hang out and see if like that connection that we had in school is like still there in a way.
Gotcha. What about you, Marissa? How do you connect with people?
FaceTime. A lot of FaceTime. We're on FaceTime like all hours of the day.
At night.
And huh?
At night. All hours of the day and night.
And definitely Snapchat too. And I wanted to say that this is like definitely giving me a taste of like what it's going to be like when we are out of high school and like out of college, like how like fast you can drift from people, and like that kind of makes me really sad.
It's a bit too soon to be sad about that. It's a bit too soon to be facing that. So that brings up a really good question. So first of all, how bored are you guys on a 0 to 10 being in quarantine? And second question that bounces off of that, so at 0 to 10, how bored are you? And how do you feel about the fact that we don't have an end in sight, that there is no date that you're going to be able to get out of your rooms and your houses yet? How are you feeling about that? And let's start again with Bailey. Just a 0 to 10, how do you feel? And how do you feel about the fact that there is no timeline on this?
I feel probably my boredom isn't that bad. I would say I'm about a 4 right now, just because with classes definitely kept me busy. And then now I'm in the process of moving all my stuff. I just moved home yesterday. So my boredom, I haven't got to the bored phase quite yet because I'm still keeping busy, but there's been some days. Yesterday was probably a 7. Just when I take breaks, I'm struggling to find things to keep me busy besides just my phone. And to answer the other question, it's most definitely stressful, I would say. But there does seem to be improvement. It's important, I think, to watch the news and keep up with it because there's improvement in certain places. Like I know in South Carolina, we're slowly reopening businesses. So it's important to focus for me, I think, on the positives, on focusing on that instead of a certain date, because there's not going to be a certain date where the virus is just gone. It's going to be a slow process. So it's stressful to not have I wish we had an exact date. That would be like a big light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm just trying to focus more so on the little things, the little progress we're making in terms of shopping centers, small businesses are starting to open, banks, things like that. So there's a small light at the end of the tunnel, but not having that set date most definitely is nerve-wracking because virus could always spike back whenever. So it's scary. I guess scary is my answer.
There you go. Yeah, it is a lot of anxiety, even in adults, right, about getting sick and having this. And so, Jen, what about you? What are you thinking about? Your boredom factor. How high is that, or how low is that? And what do you think about not having kind of a set date for returning to school and those kind of things?
It's my boredom isn't that bad because I'm staying in my grandma's house right now, and she's always getting into something, doing something new, whether it be painting or like fixing her house. So I always help her around the house do that. So my boredom isn't too bad. But as Bailey said, some days it does get kind of really boring and there's nothing to do. But I find ways to keep myself busy. And it is very scary to know that there's not a set date of when it's going to end and when we're going to go back to school. Because like how do I say this? It's like I know one day that it will end, but just the thought of how long it could be, because we've already been in quarantine for over a month. So just the thought that it could be a couple more months and it could take up our whole summer and even into the beginning of next year is scary, because that's a lot of time that people would spend with their families and by themselves and not being able to go out and do things.
Yeah, I hear that. Even I'm that way. Even, as an adult, it's, what are we going to do for the summer? Why, we've got no trips. We've got, what are we going to do for the summer? It's not like summer changes anything, but it's definitely, it's definitely something I think everybody wants to get back to their lives, and we don't know when that's going to happen. So, Lulu, how about you?
Well, I am extremely bored. Because I'm a person that always has to be doing something. So it's making it very difficult, like, to find something to like keep me occupied for doing stuff. So like I keep trying to, like, I clean my room so often now, it's like there's nothing else to clean in my room. But it's like for me, especially for the summer, it's like I had a lot of things planned for this summer, and it's just like we already know one thing is like canceled, which I was kind of looking forward to doing, and it's like now I just don't know like what's gonna happen during the summer and what else, like if it's gonna carry on further into the summer like months, to where it's like it's still like how it is now, to where we can't leave our houses or we can't see people anymore, which will probably be really hard, because it's like if I can't see people for like another 3 months or so, it's like that's really difficult to do. So
Yeah, it's very difficult. What about you, Marissa?
My boredom, it was like an 8. I think now it's moved down to like a 6 because I found things to do. Like I've been painting and stuff and been watching TV, but before I was just laying down in bed and doing nothing, and I was bored out of my mind. But now it's like a 5 or 6, and not knowing when the date, like not having a strict date of when this is all gonna end is like, it is very scary because you don't know how long it's gonna last. Because we've been in quarantine, like Genevieve said, for over like a month.
All sounds like you have kind of gone through that period of, oh no, this really sucks and I'm so bored and there's nothing, and you're starting to adjust and this is becoming your new normal. Could you all kind of feel that happening? Can you all feel like this is kind of now becoming normal life to you guys? Could that be true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting how we adapt, right? And how we start doing things differently. So just before we wrap up, tell me what still is the biggest struggle for you. Tell me, Bailey, what for you right now is your biggest kind of angst and the biggest struggle that you're having to face right now? What is it that you still have to get through?
Right now, Probably my biggest thing is just trying to stay positive about it, because there's lots of talk of like things over the summer. I think it was Lulu that said something had already been canceled for the summer. Just trying to plan efficiently and figure out a plan as to how, because we don't know how long it's going to go. So it's hard to stop myself from making plans for the summer, because summer is pretty much everyone's favorite time to like go out and do stuff with their friends, and that's not gonna most likely, well, we don't know, but it might not happen this summer. So I think deciding how to move forward from here, and look at the bright side and stay positive about it right now is my biggest thing, because it's very easy to get down knowing like having your plans canceled, and football for my school might not start back up in the fall, which is one of my favorite things ever. So it's hard to not get frustrated, I guess, and stay positive, and keep that positive mindset of this will be over eventually. We don't know when, but just planning accordingly for what we're doing now and how it's looking right now, and remembering, keeping in mind that life will go back to how it was eventually. We don't know when, but it's coming. We don't know how soon, but it'll be here.
Yeah, stay positive. Okay, so the football thing I know is big for you three, you other three girls as well. I know that was an important part of your social life. I know that high school football has been something that you've attended the whole time. Marissa, I know that you're a cheerleader. I know that that's been a big thing that you've lost. So Jen, what's your kind of last hurdle? What are you thinking just before we get off the call? What's kind of the hurdle that you're facing right now?
Probably the fact that I have to stay inside every day with my family because it's not that we don't get along, because we do, but just that amount of time with the same people kind of makes you go crazy, because two of my family members have walked in while we were on the but just staying with my family and having to quarantine and not leave my house or see my friends is probably the hardest thing.
What about for you, Lou? Don't say you don't like being with your family.
It's
you
just,
can say that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like all that, and it's like just like not like, I guess, knowing when it's gonna stop, and like having to like be like, if it's gonna be the same as it was when it started, like before it started, like the way I look at things, I feel like it's gonna be a lot different now, because it's like some people, it's like, I don't know, it's just harder, because some people like always still have to go to work and still have that fear of like that. So I'm wondering if like when this is all over, I'll be able to like look at things a different way. But it's like right now I'm just like worried mostly about school, trying to be able to get done with school and passing with good grades and stuff. So that's something I'm like really stressed out about. And it's like not knowing when I'm gonna get to see my friends again and like hang out how we used to hang out and doing all of that, like not knowing what's gonna
That makes sense. What about you, Marissa?
Probably missing my friends, like not being able to see them and being quarantined with like my mom. I love her, but I think we all have our moments with our family where we get really annoyed. And not knowing when it's gonna end is definitely a struggle, because I'm just ready to live my summer to the fullest, and like I know like me and my friends have like been like, we're gonna do this when it ends, but it's like, are we, like how do we know that it's gonna end like before summer?
It's all difficult, and unfortunately nobody has the answers, right? And so we have to live with that uncertainty, and always living with uncertainty is difficult at the best of times. And so with the with the virus being the reason why, that's even harder on our thought processes. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us and giving us a perspective of how it is to be living through this, and how it feels to be stuck in the house when you should be living the best years of your life, right? This is the best years of your life, they say. So we understand that you guys have lost an awful lot, and I super appreciate the fact that you've come on to talk to us. I hope that we can do another one of these in a few weeks, and you'll all be getting ready to go back out and start living again. So let's see how it changes over the next few months. So thanks ever so much for joining us today. We super appreciate it. You all have a really good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.